In this video, I'm going to survive the next 100 days of hardcore Minecraft, transforming this island with the Create mod. My goals are to obviously survive the 100 days, but also turn this overgrown island into the perfect oceanside village, full of automatic farms, machines, and much more. Let's get this video to 5,000 likes for the next 100 days on this world, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get on to day 0. And here we are on day 0 of this brand new hardcore create world. First things first, I'm gonna go ahead and collect up a little bit of wood. Using these logs, I can craft them into planks and then furthermore craft it into a crafting table to get myself one wooden pickaxe. Using this wooden pickaxe, I'm gonna collect up a little bit of cobblestone so then I can craft myself a full set of stone tools. I also noticed a little bit of iron over here, which I am definitely gonna collect up, along with a couple of pigs right over there, which I want to kill for some food. I'm really hoping we come across some sheep on this first day so I can quickly make a bed and sleep through the night. Because this is hardcore Minecraft, and if I die, I lose this world, which I really don't want to happen. So yeah, hopefully there are some sheep around. While I searched around for sheep, I also came across a couple of spruce trees, which I went ahead and harvested. Not really for the logs, but I want the saplings, so in the future, if we're not near a spruce biome, I have the saplings to plant down for some trees. Looks like we have a little bit of coal right here, which I am also... Was that just one piece? Are you... Yep, turns out it was just a single piece. I guess at least now I can craft some torches to put in my offhand, so everything is nice and bright. Now that I had a couple of saplings and one piece of coal, I then came across 2 of the 3 tall flower variants, one of them being lilacs and the other one's being peonies, but sadly no roses. Oh, and we have a sheep. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna take this guy out, and he has a friend. Is there gonna be a third one so I can make a bed? Of course there isn't a third one. Continuing with my travels, I went ahead and crafted myself a boat because I think it's gonna be a little quicker to travel by water. I'm also not gonna be going through hunger nearly as quick. And you know what? I really like this area. It's just super nice and peaceful. We have a river that runs through it, but before I go ahead and settle down, I want to try finding one more sheep so I can hopefully craft a bed. But instead, I came across a village right as the sun was beginning to set. Luckily, this village should have plenty of beds for me to sleep in. Get out of the bed. I'm sleeping here. Awaking on day 1, I did what any good man would do by ransacking this entire village. I was able to get about 30 hay bales from them, along with ripping up all of their crops, getting potatoes, carrots, and wheat seeds, along with stealing all of the items in their chests because they can't defend it. Speaking of defense, I went ahead and killed their only iron golem to get myself a few pieces of iron, which I can use to craft an iron pickaxe later. This village did have a blacksmith that had 2 iron pickaxes in the chest, which I don't know about you guys, but I feel like villages never spawn with blacksmiths anymore. Anyways, as I was making my way out of the village, I saw another one in the distance that I made my way over to, and did the same thing to it as I did to the first one by ransacking literally everything. Once I was done ruining any future these villages had, I went ahead and made my way back to the island we found earlier, so I could use some spruce planks to craft myself one chest to clear out my inventory a little bit. At this point, day 1 was drawing to a close, so I went ahead and slept through the night. And you know, I would say we're off to a pretty damn good start here. We already got some iron pickaxes, and I also have some raw iron, which I do want to smelt up real quick, so I can craft myself a shield, because if I don't, I will never hear the end of it from you guys. Using the rest of this iron, I want to craft myself a few pieces of iron armor, because the next thing I want to do is a little bit of caving to get some more resources. There's a little bit of water down there, so I think if I break all of these blocks, I should fall right into it. Yep, we're good. Oh, okay. Maybe it was a bad idea. Maybe it was a bad idea. I'm gonna start with getting a little bit of coal because I only have 3 torches right now. Oh my god, that guy came out of absolutely nowhere. Come here, you little piece of I'm gonna go ahead and light this entire cave up before I start harvesting any of the resources. Ooh, and we got another one. Oh, and of course, there has to be a freaking baby zombie. It took me quite a while to get this cave entirely lit up because I was dealing with a lot of mobs and it was also a very big cave. Once it was lit up though, I was pretty stoked because there was tons of iron, coal, and zinc in the walls. So I just went ahead and spent the next 2.5 days harvesting up all of the resources. Once I had most of everything cleared out, I then went ahead and spent a little bit harvesting up 2 stacks of andesite, which I'm gonna need for create mod, along with collecting up a couple stacks of cobblestone because I'm gonna use it on my starter house. pickaxe. And I guess that is my sign to leave because I can't mine anything else without a pickaxe. Once I was back up at the surface, I threw all of the resources into the furnace so they can smelt. While I wait for this to happen, I want to get going on the starter house, but I don't have a great spot to build it. So with this being said, I crafted a new iron axe and started chopping down a bunch of trees. I also decided to place a 2x2 spruce tree in to get a bunch more spruce. By the time I was complete with this, the sun was beginning to set on day 4. And on the morning of day 5, I went ahead and crafted some new iron armor along with some new iron tools. And man, just look how sexy I'm looking. Continuing on with the block collection on day 5, I spent a little while down in the bottom of the river collecting up a decent amount of clay which I can smelt into bricks, along with harvesting some sand from the river's edge, but I wanted to make sure to keep this as natural as possible because I don't want to ruin the nearby terrain. I also finally cut down that 2x2 spruce tree because it looked like and by the time I was done, the sun was setting on day 5. Awaking on day 6, I continued to collect up blocks for this starter house, and that's when I realized I still did not have enough cobblestone, so I went ahead and made my way back over to the cave to collect up about 2 more stacks of this stuff. I did a few other things, but day 6 was quickly drawing to a close, so I went ahead and slept through the night. Awaking on day 7, I want to go ahead and craft all of the chipped workstations, which will give me access to hundreds of variations of different vanilla blocks. I'm only going to go ahead and craft the glass blowing table, the carpenter's table, and the mason's table. I mean, just check out how many different variations of oak logs there is. I mean, we have even lush logs. What is one of these look? How do I just craft? Oh no, I don't want to craft all of them. Okay, I can craft them back. Look how cool that is. Look at that. It's an overgrown flowering lush log. That is so damn cool. I'm gonna go ahead and take these back to normal though. Furthermore, I can use some iron ingots to craft all of these workstations into handheld tools. And just like that, day 7 was now drawing to a close, so I went ahead and slept through the night. Awaking on day 8, I went ahead and got started with this house. I want it to resemble a watermill because we're gonna have some great machinery inside of here, and I think by using some large water wheels and small water wheels, it will be the perfect opportunity to power all of these machines. I tried to keep this thing pretty simple by using a few different stone variants, along with using some spruce and oak. This house ended up taking about 8 days to build, which I think is crazy for a starter house, but I used the reference image online of an actual watermill, and I think that's part of the reason it took so long is that I was trying to figure out how to design it to replicate the image that I was using. Once I had the exterior all complete, I couldn't figure out a good way to get the large water wheel working outside, so instead I decided to put 3 smaller water wheels on the inside, which will actually be the ones powering all of our machines. And just by the morning of day 16, the starter house / watermill is all complete with the 90% finished interior because it's missing all of the crate machines. And that is because I am all out of iron, which means it's time to head back down into the caves. So I went ahead and crafted a little more food along with grabbing 1 water bucket and searched around for a new cave because the one we previously explored was all dead ends. I eventually came across a pretty shallow ravine, but it did have a mine shaft inside of it, so I decided to go ahead and explore around. Before harvesting up any loot or resources, I wanted to go around lighting up every single arm of this mine shaft along with killing every mob. It took quite a while to get this done because there were mobs everywhere and this mine shaft was also extremely large. I absolutely need to get rid of this spider spawner. Come on, get rid of it, break. Okay, I don't think any spawned in. I think we're good. I went ahead and spent all of day 17 and most of day 18 exploring around this mine shaft, lighting as much up as possible and collecting all the iron and zinc in the walls. Sadly, there was no part of this mine shaft that went down into the deep slate, so I was never collecting up things like redstone, gold, or diamonds. Although I did continue exploring around hoping that it would maybe go down into the deep slate, but I was finding some more chests along with a lot more mobs. Damn cave spiders, they're the worst. The poison lasts so long too. I need to eat. I'm up to just over 2.5 stacks of iron, and I don't really need to go deeper, but I would like to get some diamonds, and that looks pretty promising. So hopefully I don't die. And finally, there's a cave that actually seems like it might have diamonds in it. It also seems like there might be quite a bit of mobs in here. Yep, definitely. It's like I have a sword. Are you kidding me? I got too close to him. You are kidding. Another baby zombie. This is like the 3rd one now. And finally, now that I have most of the mobs cleared out of this really big cave, I can harvest up our first diamond. And of course, I really think that was just a single diamond. You know, sometimes I just want to like take this game and throw it in the trash, but since it's a digital download on my PC, I'm just gonna throw my whole PC away. Just kidding, I love making these videos too much. We got some more diamonds right up there. There's probably just gonna be more mobs that I need to get rid of. Are you, oh my god, it's a, Out of every mob, it has to be a witch. You are kidding me. And we have a spawner right over there. I don't know if it's a zombie. It's definitely a zombie. Get this lit up as fast as possible. And what do we have in chest 1? Nothing too good. I'll take the extra bread because I just ran out of food. And we have another piece of bread and 2 more golden apples. I know this one is for sure more than 1 diamond. I can see 3 so far. Is there maybe a 4th? Yes, there is. All right, that's not too bad. Takes us up to a grand total of 5 diamonds. But I'm not done here yet because I still have to collect up all of these iron veins along with redstone and gold. I am so glad I continued mining all of these resources because I just harvested this iron right up here and there's diamonds behind it. Now we're up to 9 diamonds in total. And I have so much resources, it's insane. I went ahead and spent the rest of day 21 harvesting up all the ores in the walls. At this point, I am pretty happy with the amount of resources I have gathered up, but I'm gonna head back up to the surface because I'm all out of food and I really don't want to have to be going back to base and I can't even run. Oh man, does it feel nice to see the surface. I was down there for so much longer than I anticipated, but at least I'm going to have more than enough resources for quite a while. Ooh, and look how pretty the base is looking. I am so happy with how that thing turned out. I was worried that it might be too much stone, but you know what? I think it's fine. Oh yeah, and I did have to end up walking back to base because I ran out of food. Besides that, I went ahead and threw all of the raw resources we collected into the furnaces to get them smelted up. While I wait for that, I also went ahead and expanded out my little sugarcane farm on the side of the island. And by this point, day 22 was drawing to a close, so I went ahead and slept through the night. Moving on to day 23, I wanted to get started with a new project, which is going to be a small field. I ended up spending about a day and a half on this project getting it all set up, and luckily I have all 4 of the crops I can plant, which typically I don't. I'm usually missing beetroot or potatoes or one or the other. I kept this thing pretty simple and also pretty small because I am planning on expanding some more fields out a little bit later. And just like that, we have a small little field set up with some beetroots, potatoes, carrots, and wheat crops placed in. This is definitely not going to be our field for this entire 100-day challenge because I do plan on automating 3 out of these 4 crops, and I'm sure you could assume that I'm just not going to automate the beetroot because I don't really think there's a reason to. Once the field was complete, most of the iron and zinc had smelted up, so I want to go ahead and start crafting some of the crate machinery. One of the basic things we're going to need are a bunch of andesite casings, which pretty much just involves stripping down a log and throwing an andesite alloy on top of it, and it gives us a casing. This will be used for pretty much every single machine we're going to be building with crate mod. And the first of those machines is going to be a mechanical press. I also went ahead and crafted one of these millstones, which I can just throw items inside of, and it's going to mill them down for me, along with one of these mechanical mixers and basins, which really doesn't matter right now, but eventually it is going to. I'm just gonna have to go to the Nether first to get one of these blaze burners. And also I'm gonna need a little bit more speed because as you can see, it appears that this thing is not spinning fast enough. Moving on to day 26, I'm nearly level 30, so I want to go ahead and get some cow pens set up so I can hopefully build an enchantment table soon. But the problem is that there's no cows on this island, which means I need to go over to the nearby plains and somehow get cows across this river. And I don't know if you know this, but cows are notoriously so slow when it comes to swimming. Luckily, I decided to be smart for once, and I was able to get both of the cows into a boat and then transfer them across the river relatively easily, and then slowly walk them across the island and set up a small little pen, which they're gonna suffocate in for the rest of their lives. To make things even easier, I can go ahead and craft a feeding trough and throw it down in the center of this pen, and as long as there's wheat inside of here, it's automatically gonna cause the cows to breed up. While I wait for the cows to breed up, I went ahead and spent the rest of day 26 crafting a saw, which involves throwing some iron in the press, along with crafting a hand crank, which will then allow me to throw this at the base of a tree, and I can chop down a tree extremely quickly. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's any quicker than just using an iron axe or a diamond axe, but it is definitely more satisfying. I went ahead and did this for quite a while because I am gonna need some more wood, and I also want a new area so we can build another structure. And on the morning of day 28, we have a nice area cleared out for our next structure, which is going to be a blacksmith slash furnace house. But before I can get building, I'm gonna need quite a bit bit more blocks because, yeah, I'm pretty much all out of everything. So first things first, I made my way over to a nearby cave so I can collect up about a stack and a half of andesite so I can make some more andesite casings. Or I guess andesite alloy that will then turn into andesite casings. Once I had more than enough andesite collected up, I made my way back to base so I can start crafting some more crate machinery. I'm going to be able to automate a decent amount of stuff, and the first one I want to do is an automatic cobblestone farm. I also used 3 diamonds to craft an iron pickaxe because I was over the iron pickaxes constantly breaking. Finally, on day 29, I had everything together to build this automatic cobblestone farm. For the time being, I'm going to build this down by the cow pens just because I don't have a building to put it inside of, but eventually we will be building a specific location for this to go in because, yeah, I just hate the way it looks. I am so glad I added 2 more levels of cogwheels there because this thing is moving so fast. Just look at that. Definitely is going to be temporary though because it looks like Using the lava source from the cobblestone farm, I can craft myself one of these crate fans and set up a small little smeltery. I'm only going to be able to cook blocks in front of the lava because if I throw food in front of it, it's just going to disappear. Furthermore, I can craft a few of these depots and throw these down in front of the lava source also just to clean things up a bit. While I wait for a solid stockpile of cobblestone to build up, I'm going to go ahead and chop down a bunch of 2x2 spruce trees with our crate saw. I first did this right in front of the starter house and realized it's a terrible idea because all of the items sink down to the bottom of the river, making it a huge pain to collect them all up. So instead, I made my way over to the plains and spent about a whole day chopping trees down. And I was able to get a ton of logs extremely quickly. On day 31, I needed to go back over to the cave from earlier to go collect up even more andesite along with a decent amount of granite, which I'm gonna use for this furnace house. I emerged from the cave on day 32 and spent the rest of the day doing some crafting for this house. And finally, on the morning of day 33, I was ready to start building. Coming into this build, I wasn't exactly sure the style I wanted to go with, but I ended up deciding on doing two different structures with sort of a large kiln in the middle using some brick and granite. As of right now, I'm only going to be using one of the buildings for the furnaces, and I'm going to leave the other one open for storage or some other things. When it came to the block palette, I mainly just used lots of stone, stone brick, andesite, and a little bit of cobblestone. And then for an accent block, I decided to use spruce just because I think it complements the stone color very nicely. With the exterior all complete, I moved into the right side of the building, which is where all of our fans and depots are going to be held. I decided to put large water wheels up in the ceiling and then having a shaft go all the way through the main floor down below the building, which is where all of our gears are going to be so we can speed those fans up to smelt things even quicker. It's honestly going to be pretty bland in this space, but we are nearing day 40 of this 100-day challenge, and there is a lot more things I want to build before the 100 days is up, and I feel like interiors is something I can come back and upgrade later if I have some leftover time. And finally, by the morning of day 40, this furnace building is all complete. I am extremely happy with how this thing turned out. I love the way it looks. And when it comes to the actual smelting area itself, I probably went pretty overkill with this considering there's, I think, 5 large water wheels up there. And I only have 2 fans running. I mean, they are at the fastest speed they can go, but still, I'm pretty sure you don't need 5 large water wheels. When it comes to the other side, I haven't done anything in here yet, but honestly, I'm sure as we continue along with this 100-day series, I'm gonna need to find a place to put something, and that interior will be perfect. I'm actually kind of thinking maybe we can put our enchantment table in here, but I don't have that just yet. Actually, speaking of enchantment table, I wonder how the cows are doing. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. Slowly kill these guys off. Hopefully we get enough leather to make an enchantment table. So close, yet so far. We need another 8 pieces of leather, and there's only 2 cows left, and I definitely can't kill those guys, or else I'm gonna have to get more to this island. So I'm just gonna use my hay bales to craft some more wheat and to refill this bad boy. Anyways, while I wait for the cows to continue breeding up to get some more leather, I want to head out on a small adventure looking for a lava pool, because I still need obsidian to go to the nether and also to craft an enchantment table. And I'm sure I could probably head down into the caves and find myself a big lava lake, but I think it might be easier just to find a lava pool in the plains, and I'm not gonna have to deal with any mobs. Finally, something that's gonna give me a little bit of obsidian. I've never had this hard of a time just trying to find a small lava pool. Normally those things are everywhere, but I guess the old saying is when you actually need it, you can never find it. I'm just hoping there's enough to make a portal in here. Nope, there's only 9 pieces. Oh, there's the 10th. Okay, awesome. That is so cool. I'm gonna need to get a few more pieces of obsidian in the future to still craft another portal, since I'm gonna be using 4 to craft the enchantment table, but that's a problem for future me. On my way home, I went ahead and killed a decent amount of cows and horses, trying to get those last pieces of leather I need. Once I was back to base, I harvested up all of my sugarcane, getting about 3 stacks of it, and then went ahead and crafted it all into paper, then into books, then into an enchantment table and some bookshelves. I'm really hoping this thing is showing fortune or at least efficiency. Oh, of course it's unbreaking. Hopefully we got fortune. Oh my goodness, that is literally like worst case, just unbreaking 3, which means it doesn't speed anything up. It's just gonna last way longer. For the rest of day 42, I went ahead and removed the original fan setup we had to smelt our items along with the cobblestone generator. I used the last 4 of my diamonds to craft a diamond axe and shovel because on the morning of day 43, I started removing a whole bunch of trees from the top of our island so I can do a little bit of terraforming. The next structure I want to build is a large factory building which can hold an automatic crate iron farm along with a few other crate machines. While I was chopping the trees down with the crate saw, I learned that if I use some logs and connect the base of all the trees up, I'm able to chop down multiple trees at once. I wanted to test the limits of this, so I connected up about 10 trees, and it turns out you can only chop down 3 or 4 at a time, but it was still cool to find this out. With a pretty large area cleared out, I used some stone brick to set up a simple template just to get an idea of how large I want this factory building to be. There's a fine line I'm trying to walk because I don't want the building to be so big that it stands out on the island, but I also want to make sure it's not too small to the point that I can't fit most of my crate machines inside of it. And on the morning of day 44, I have a template laid out of the industrial building. I'm just not exactly sure if this is going to be big enough. I guess I could always add a little sticky outy bit right here if I need a little bit more space, but that will be a problem for later because before I can even start building, I'm going to need to collect up quite a bit more blocks. To start things off, I'm going to head down into the bottom of the river again and collect up a lot of clay because I mainly want this building to be built out of brick. I spent quite a while doing this until I remembered that I saw an azalea tree earlier, which means there's a lush cave below it full of clay. I found a pretty small opening that led me down into the cave and spent about 10 minutes harvesting up about a full inventory of clay. On day 46, I arrived back at base where I spent quite a while in the furnace room smelting all of this clay into bricks. And on the morning of day 47, I pretty much had everything together that I was going to need for this factory building. Jumping straight into this build, I went ahead and extended the template up 3 more blocks, which will give us a small basement, and then started to mess around with a few different designs for the walls of this building. I originally was going to build this entire thing out of brick, granite, and terracotta, but I decided to bring in some stone pillars every 3 or 4 blocks, which I think will give this building a very nice touch of detail. And so far, I think this thing is looking pretty dang good, besides the fact that it might be a little too big. If we go into orthocam, you can just see how large that back wall is right now, and there still isn't even a roof on this thing, which is probably going to be another 4 or 5 blocks tall. I mean, I guess the upside is that we're going to have more than enough room for all of our crate machines. I guess if the building is much bigger than I need it to be, that's not too big of an issue because I can always add some more machines in here, but I'm just a little concerned that it might look unproportional when it comes to the entire island itself and this building. Anyways, once I had all 4 walls up, I tried figuring out a design for the roof, and for some reason I thought it would look good to do stone, brick, spruce, and then glass, and almost do it in like a striped pattern, and honestly, it just looks like What in the world was I thinking when it came to this roof design? From the inside, it looks really cool, but from the outside, it honestly just looks like the building was like, the roof was decapitated off the thing. And of course, is it really raining? Oh my god, it rains so much in this world. I hated the roof so much that I went ahead and spent the entire day of 54 removing this thing. After taking a step back and looking at this building, I tried coming up with a new design for the roof, and I went through 2 to 3 iterations until I finally came up with something that I liked. Using half slabs, I'm gonna have the roof slowly work its way towards the middle, and then I'm gonna add in another level to this building, which I think will look very nice. And on top of this level is going to be another roof. But I wasn't able to finish it because I ran out of brick, so I made my way back down to the river and started collecting up as much clay as possible. And luckily there was still a good amount in the river. I could have gone back to the lush cave, but it was pretty far away, so I decided just to stay local. And once I had more than enough clay, I went to the furnace room, smelted this all into brick, and then crafted it, and finished up on the final side of the roof. And finally, after 10 days of working on this building, the shell is actually complete. Although the interior, that's a whole nother story. This thing is so big and there's so much work to do. I still need to replace this entire floor with some block that isn't dirt. Keeping the interior pretty simple, I'm gonna just use spruce half slabs for the entire floor, which I honestly think always looks really good. And I'm also doing this because I have like 15 stacks of spruce logs, so I don't need to go collect anything else up. And finally, this factory building is starting to come together. It just needs an interior, aka the guts, which is gonna be all of our crate machinery. The main farm that is gonna go in this building, and it's gonna take up a solid chunk of it, is going to be an automatic iron farm. Although before I go ahead and start crafting all the components needed and building it, I actually want to head down into the caves to hopefully collect up a few more diamonds so I can get a diamond sword along with full diamond armor, and maybe get myself up to level 30 so I can do another enchantment. Hopping in my boat, I want to make my way back over to the cave we explored earlier because I remember there being a few offshoots that I never went down into. They look like they went deeper into the world, so I'm hoping there should be some diamonds down there. I quickly noticed that there was some diamonds, but first I declare out a whole bunch of mobs, and for some reason this cave was full of them. They also were spawning like super close and super quickly. Right after I finished killing some of them, even more spawned when I turned around. So before harvesting anything, I wanted to light up the entire cave, making sure I don't get snuck up on by a creeper, because that would be really sad. I really wish I had some fortune, because we have diamonds right there, a little bit right there, some more right here, and even more right there. And I don't have fortune, which is so sad. So let's see how much I get anyways. I was able to get 13 diamonds in total, and I'm also now up to level 30. Although last I checked, 13 diamonds is not enough to make an entire suit of diamond armor, so I'm gonna keep searching around for some more, along with collecting up all this redstone because I really don't have any. My sword is nearly broken, and I've explored this entire cave and didn't see any more diamonds, so honestly, I'm just gonna head back up to the surface. I do want to grab this lava, though, before leaving, because I'm gonna need it. Oh, and there's more diamonds right there. I didn't even notice that. It was only 2 pieces, but at least that's 2 more pieces. I'm sure I could have searched around a little bit longer and found even more diamonds, but honestly, I want to get back to building some of these crate machines, so I went ahead and made my way back up to the surface. Although before climbing out of the ravine, I spent a few minutes collecting up about 5 stacks of andesite, which I can use for building, along with crafting a whole bunch of andesite alloys, so I don't need to come back down here for quite a while. I also think the iron farm is going to take a ton of this stuff. With more than enough andesite collected, I went ahead and climbed my way out of this ravine and made my way back to base so I could sleep through the night. This could be a bad idea, but I'm gonna go ahead and disenchant my diamond pickaxe, and hopefully we can maybe get some efficiency, maybe even fortune. Okay, silk touch. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 1-level enchantment on my shovel, which will give me unbreaking 1. And hopefully now it's showing efficiency 4. Okay, awesome. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And of course, we just got literally just efficiency 4. It's better than unbreaking 3 in my opinion, but still kind of sucks. For the rest of day 61, I spent quite a while getting myself a full stack of andesite casings so I can craft the rest of the components for this iron farm. Now that I have a stack of andesite casings along with a stack of andesite alloy, I can start crafting all of the components that I'm going to need for this iron farm, and there is a lot of them. And finally, by the morning of day 63, I have an entire inventory full of crate components. And oh man, was that so grindy to get all of this stuff. I'm hoping it should be everything we need to build this automatic iron farm, but there's a good chance it's probably not going to be. To say this iron farm was easy to build would be a complete lie, because it was a pain in the ass. Rather than being smart and going online to find a design, I decided to build it off the top of my head, even though I'm a complete amateur with crate mod. For those of you guys who know how to work crate mod, I'm sorry, it was an embarrassment that it took me 7 days to build this farm, and it still is not working. Every time I went to go power this thing, I just kept getting an overstressed error, and finally, after having 14 large water wheels in total, the farm was working until I realized the mills could not be right next to each other, and it caused them all to break and despawn because I never noticed it. So then I had to craft even more mills, and at this point I still didn't realize where the issue was occurring until I placed them back in and watched the machine break. Normally I'm not the rage quitting type, but oh my god, I've spent the last like hour and a half working on this thing and it doesn't work still. I didn't even think about the fact that I can't place millstones right next to each other in the pattern I had it in. Yeah, I had them placed like this, but it makes sense for it not to work. And what that pretty much means is that entire cobblestone millstone area needs to be completely rebuilt from scratch. And we're almost on to day 70 now. Once I took a few minutes to gather my thoughts, I went ahead and tore this entire iron farm down so I can start from scratch. All I needed to do was separate the millstones by 1 block rather than having them right next to each other. It really wasn't that difficult to do. It just kind of sucked, like wasting so much time building this machine only to have to rip it all down. Once I did have the machine rebuilt, I then ran into many issues when it came to it being overstressed. I guess it turned out I didn't have nearly enough water wheels, where in the past I thought I did, but really it was enough without the millstones there. And for another test, is it gonna work? No. That's not good. That's not good. It needs to place that right there. Oh, and that's blowing the wrong way. Nope, still not working. Okay, I think it's all working. This might get a little bit laggy. I mean, yeah, we're down to 44 frames right now. That is terrible. But I think it's gonna produce a lot more than 64 iron ingots an hour. I think we might even be getting closer to 64 blocks of iron an hour. I'm gonna let this run for a little while, but I think I'm gonna eventually turn it off because, yeah, if I look in this direction, it gets way laggier, and then when I look over in this direction, 90. Yeah. So yeah, definitely gonna have to turn that off at some point. Using a couple of diamonds, I crafted one of these storage upgrades, which is just gonna expand the capacity of the barrel holding all of the iron nuggets. So this should increase the capacity of the stack limit. Yeah, there we go. It went from 32 stacks up to 512 stacks, which I think I can finally leave this building and this farm alone for a little while and not come back, since I've been working on it for like 25 plus days now. Using 5 of my diamonds, I went ahead and crafted a brand new diamond sword along with a diamond pickaxe, and then used a decent amount of iron to craft an anvil to combine the 2 pickaxes to repair our efficiency one. The next project I want to work on is an automatic tree farm, but I'm first gonna have to go to the Nether to collect up a blaze for our blaze burner. This is all required because I need brass to make these brass funnels, which pretty much just works as an item filter. And to get brass, you combine copper and zinc in a basin, but you need to power it by a blaze burner. Although what all of this means is that I need more obsidian, and if you guys remember from earlier, it's been a struggle trying to find lava. Here's the abandoned Nether portal from earlier, which I wanted to take a few minutes using my efficiency pickaxe just to dig around to see if there is any lava below this thing. I'm kind of doubting it though, because I don't really see any. Alright, it was at least worth a try, but yeah, definitely no lava there. So I'm just gonna continue traveling around, and hopefully I come across a lava pool at some point. Oh my god, that is such a beautiful sight to see. We have lava. We officially have lava. And I now have efficiency 4 on my pickaxe, so I can mine this stuff way, way faster. 23 pieces should definitely do. I don't think I'm going to need any more than that, but I am glad I collected up a little bit of extra because I'm now realizing that I'm almost 2,000 blocks away from base. Arriving back home midway through day 75, I went ahead and set up the portal inside of our factory building since I have so much extra space. And also, since I had the extra pieces of obsidian, I filled in the corners of this portal. I went ahead and crafted myself a bow along with getting all the arrows I have to my name, so at least if we run into a ghast, I can maybe kill it. But without further ado, I think it's time to head into the Nether on day 75. I am begging that we spawn in a good biome, please. Okay, yep, another waste. I like that. Ooh, and I should probably throw my golden booties on too. And now it's time just to look around for a Nether fortress so I can hopefully grab a never mind, I gotta go back to get my blaze burner. Luckily, these things are pretty easy to craft. I just need 1 piece of netherrack along with 4 iron plates. And now that I have a burner with me, it's time for take 2, and hopefully we can find a portal relatively easily. Oh, and you know, I actually need to collect up a little bit of quartz while I'm here too. Oh, and that right there is a Nether fortress, but it happens to be kind of far away. Is there an easy way to get down from here? And I have my gold boots on. Yeah, we're good. So I'm not going to get attacked by any of the piglins or hoglins, whatever they're called. Oh no, and we have to cross through one of these crimson forests. These things are the worst because of the big mobs that spawn. They do so much damage. I'm hoping I can maybe just run across the top of these crimson stems the whole way. I was totally able to make it. Now I just need to find a blaze and not run into any of those guys. Got him. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. I was able to get him. I literally have no other reason to be in the Nether besides for the blaze burner. You know, that wasn't too bad. I'm just going to make my way back to the portal and we can get out of here. Oh, no, 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 no. We got a gas shooting at us. Can I hit him? Oh, we got him. Awesome. And that was not hard at all. I don't know what I was stressing about. This isn't, whoa, no, god damn it, the portal, what happened? The portal switched down into a cave and I don't see any of my torches, so it's definitely not a cave I've explored, which means there's really only one thing to do, which is just to dig up to the surface, I guess. And it turns out we're underwater, I guess? Okay, we're not too far from our base. What happened there? Why did our portal get so screwed up? I haven't had an issue like that in so long. Let's just get me into the house before any mobs decide to blow me up, and then I can sleep real quick. I already have crafted myself a mixer and a basin, so I'm just gonna run over to our industrial building where we have an excess of power, or at least I hope. And then pretty easily, I should be able just to break that, place that there, and then place that right there. And then down in the ground, I'll place that bad boy and then that on top of it. And I can just throw the zinc and the copper into there, grab a few pieces of wood and feed it to the blaze burner. Ah, there we go. Now we are making brass. And just like that, we have 40 brass ingots, which is more than enough to craft all of these deployers. For the rest of day 76 and the morning of day 77, I began doing all the crafting for the components I'm gonna need for this auto tree farm. Although I quickly realized I was missing a piece of glowstone dust, so I had to go back into the nether, collect up a little bit of glowstone without dying, and make my way back to the overworld so I can craft one of these Tom's storage interfaces. I also needed to head over to one of the nearby caves to collect up a couple more stacks of andesite because I pretty much burnt through all of my andesite alloy building the iron farm. Luckily, now that I have efficiency 4 on my pickaxe, this went much quicker than it had in the past. And you know, I think that's my sign to get out of here, considering I almost just got blown up. Using the floor of my factory building, I placed down a bunch of spruce logs, stripped them, and then placed andesite alloys on top of them, which turned all of them into andesite casings, which I am gonna need a ton of for this tree farm. With more than enough andesite casings, I could now finish up all the crafting for the farm and pick a location to build it. That's until I realized I still needed to craft some super glue, which requires a slime ball. Luckily, I can use dough and lime green dye to craft a slime ball, but that means I'm gonna need to go find some cactus to get some green dye. But I quickly found out that there is not a desert even close to where our base is. And I'm talking like 2,000 or 3,000 blocks away at a minimum. And after so much damn travel, I have finally found a desert that has some cactus in it. Oh my god, that has taken so long. It is incredible. That is also a very cool looking village up there, up on top of that plateau. Arriving back home on the morning of day 81, I threw some of the cactus down on the beach so we can start growing it, and then smelted up the rest into green dye to furthermore craft it into lime green dye and then super glue. At this point, I had all the components together for the auto tree farm, but I still hadn't cleared out a location. So using my crate sawmill, I went ahead and started chopping down a whole bunch of trees just to the right side of our furnace building. After spending a few minutes figuring out what I wanted this building to look like, I got started by building a 2-block tall wall out of stone and stone brick. I want this structure to sort of resemble the letter L by having 2 separate sides of the building and one side being a little bit lower than the other. Honestly, it's gonna end up being way bigger than what I probably need it to be, but I kinda like the look of a lumber mill being large since, I mean, the trees take up a lot of space. Although once I was complete with one side of the building, I realized I'm gonna need quite a bit more brick for the roof of the second portion. So as I've done in the past, I just jumped down to the bottom of the river and a little bit of the ocean and started collecting up a decent amount of clay, which I'm gonna smelt into brick. From there, I could just finish up the other portion of the building. And finally, now that I have the building itself about 3/4 of the way complete, I actually want to go ahead and start building these automatic tree farms just so I have them set up and I know where all of the conveyor belts are going to go before I can finish all the detailing on this. First things first, I want to find a nice center point, which I think will be, let's say, right there. And I need to get rid of a 5x5 square. Then I can place a large water wheel right there with a mechanical bearing on top of that. Where did I put them? Right there. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and cover this back up with dirt. And then around the outside, I'm just gonna take some stone brick stairs and run them a little bit something like this to almost give us like a big circle. Oh, I had the exact amount of stairs I needed. Okay, then from here, we can really start building the machine. So I want to get my deployers, saws, chests, and where is my glue? Because I'm definitely gonna need that. So using the linear chassis, I want to build something that looks a little bit like an elongated C. And along the front, I'm gonna place some saws like so. And then on the back, I'm gonna take some deployers and place them in. And using some saplings, I can put them in the filter so they're only gonna place the saplings down. And then to finish things off, I just need to glue all of this together so as it spins, everything stays connected. Okay, that all seems to be ouch, forgot you can't do that. So now all I need to do is throw some saplings up there and then let this thing start spinning again. Yeah, and there we go. Now it's placing everything in. Now that I have one of these complete, I'm gonna go ahead and build the one for spruce, which is pretty much the exact same besides some very, very minor changes. Once I was done building the spruce tree farm, I pretty much just went ahead and set up all the conveyor belts along with the vault that's going to be at the end of the belts, which is where all of the logs are going to go into once they've been harvested. As much as I'd love to spend a lot longer working on this building, we are already on to day 89, which only leaves me with 11 days to get full diamond armor. So I'm going to go ahead and wait to detail this thing completely, but before I call it quits on this building, I actually want to build a wall around the outside of the lumber mill just to make it a little bit safer for me when I'm actually in the area, and also to make it a little bit realistic, because you wouldn't want civilians wandering into a lumber mill full of saws and whatnot. I'm gonna keep this super simple though by just using a lot of stone brick and some iron bars. As I said, super simple, but also very effective when it comes to looks and also realism. And I just realized I never showed you guys what the vault looks like and what the storage interface does. Pretty much these vaults in normal Create, you're not able to like look into them. You need a funnel on the other side like that to get items out of it. But this mod simply just adds an interface so I can pull items in and out relatively easily. And if I wanted to waste 4 diamonds, I could actually make one of these bad boys, which just adds a crafting terminal to the inside of this. But honestly, I don't have 4 diamonds to waste. Speaking of diamonds, I'm gonna use 2 to repair my pickaxe because I want to head back over to the cave to do a little bit more mining to hopefully get enough diamonds for a full suit of armor. Actually, I have an even better idea. If I go through my nether portal again and then wait a second and go back through, we can explore the cave that we spawned in, which I think there might be some diamonds in. If any cave were to have diamonds, it definitely seems like it would be this one. Yep, we already got some right over there. Ooh, that was a very close call. I kind of forgot that the zombies do a lot of damage when they're holding a shovel. I'm currently up to 33 diamonds and I'm nearly out of food, so I think I'm actually going to head back up to the surface because I think I only need, oh my goodness. As I was saying, I think I only need like 24 to craft a full suit of diamond armor. Once I was back up at the surface, that's exactly what I did and got rid of my trashy iron armor. I was honestly starting to get worried that I wasn't going to be able to get diamond armor by the end of this 100-day challenge, but it's officially done. We have gotten the armor. And it really didn't take much time at all. I spent about a day down in the caves and was able to get more than enough diamonds, which means I have 9 more days to do some more detailing around this island that is definitely needed because like in between the industrial building and the furnace house, there's no pathway. So that is exactly what I did is I built a pathway going along the side of the furnace building all the way to the entrance of the industrial building. And I kept this pretty simple by just using path blocks, spruce slabs. And then along the sides, I threw down some spruce fence posts with some lanterns on top to make sure mobs aren't spawning, along with adding some oak leaves along with some birch leaves just for a little bit of detail and growth around the sides. I really liked how this looked, so I went ahead and then added another pathway going from the front of the factory building all the way down to the lumber mill. For one final pathway, I want to connect the lumber mill and the starter house so there's a more direct route getting there, rather than having to run all the way up to the factory building and then all the way back down to the lumber mill just to collect up a little bit of wood. With only 5 days left on this world, there's a few open spots on the island that I think need some structures or some fields built. For example, we have this spot right over here, which is a big hole in the ground filled with water, and I think if I terraform the area just a little bit and cover up this hole, we should have enough space to put a pretty large field. field, which honestly I think is necessary considering this is the only field we have on the whole island. I really would have loved to be able to automate all of our crops, but there just wasn't enough time in this 100-day challenge. I spent way too long working on the factory building along with the iron farm that's inside of it, which pretty much gave me no time to build some of the other stuff I wanted to, like auto crop farms along with an automatic mine. That is why I'm hoping you guys get this video to 5,000 likes so I can make another 100 days on this to finish up those things that I never got done. And just by the late afternoon of day 99, this field is all complete. And honestly, I was starting to get worried that I wasn't going to be able to get it done in time, but I just squeezed it in. I was thinking about removing these two bigger trees and the smaller one in the middle, but I kind of like how it looks up against the front of the factory. Anyways, as the sun is beginning to set on day 99, I'm gonna go ahead and sleep through this final night. And there we go. We are sleeping through this final night. And that right there is 100 days of hardcore Minecraft, but with Create Mod. Obviously, before we close out here, we should do a little tour. Back between days 10 and 20, we built our first starter house, which was this watermill. And I really like how it turned out. It's just a little bit on the smaller side, especially having Create Mod added in, which means you need a lot more space for things. Following that, I built our first field off to the side here, nothing too special. And then we moved on to our next large structure, which is the furnace building that has a semi-automatic furnace that doesn't require any fuel. It just uses fans and lava or even a campfire to cook food. And then on the other side, we have the enchantment table, which took way too long to get. As we move up to the higher parts of the island, we have our mega factory building, which I would have loved to put more machines inside of here, but honestly, I just don't think 100 days is enough time in Create Mod to build a lot more things. It took me way too long to build this iron farm, obviously, considering it took like 10 or 12 days. And I also have it turned off right now to help with the lag, but it appears to still be lagging. And I'm gonna assume that's probably something to do with the fact that there's like 20 plus large water wheels down here, which I do purposely have them overstressed right now. Anyways, continuing on, I then built this large lumber mill over here with a fully automatic oak farm and spruce farm where all the items collect into this vault, and we are up to a lot of wood for this thing being built around like day 80. And then obviously to finish things off, we built this large field here, got full diamond armor and diamond tools, which I would have loved to enchant, but honestly, I didn't have a great way to get any XP through this 100-day challenge. So if you guys get this video to 5,000 likes for the next 100 days, we will definitely be working on that, along with building a lot more Create machinery, like automating all of our crops here and building a fully automatic mine. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already. And also, don't forget to check out my YouTube memberships to see videos 2 to 3 days before they release, along with express responses to any questions you guys have and much more. I will see you in the next one.